Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast, your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast. I am Sam. We are talking about Ms. Marvel Episode 5 from the show's first, maybe only season, we don't know. Joining me to discuss the penultimate episode is my partner in crime as always, it's Stefan.
Hello!
How you doing, buddy?
I am good, man. I am good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. You sound very enthusiastically good there. I'm proud of that. That was good. That was...
Am I allowed to say it's because I saw Thor yesterday and I'm still just on an absolute buzz?
No, you're not allowed to say that. We got to focus on Ms. Marvel.
Okay. No spoilers.
Ms. Marvel
Nothing
Episode
for me.
5.
It's fine. I'm just saying.
No, I mean, Thor is the GOAT. Anyway, also joining us to discuss the magic of Ms. Marvel Episode 5, my partner in crime, my Marvel superfan, it's Kaylee.
Good morning.
How are you, Angel?
Fantastic.
You do really bring real energy with your good mornings and stuff. You know that? It's like this show needs that, I think. Because I'm hot and tired right now. It's we're having a heat wave in the UK, which kind of starts today. And I don't know if either of you have seen this yet, but apparently next week the UK is going to break temperature records where they think we could actually hit 40 degrees centigrade.
No, thank you.
Yeah, that was...
Well, I'm excited.
I have this theory, you see. I have a theory, okay?
Bring the theory, man.
When I'm on holiday, there is no such thing as it being too hot.
Okay, yeah.
Okay? When I'm at home...
Yeah.
I will never complain it's too hot because I really don't like the cold.
Oh, okay.
So I will never complain that it's too hot, but I can definitely deal with like an extra 6 to 7 degrees if I'm on holiday than if I'm at home.
Yeah, that's probably
holiday
fair.
heat doesn't count. Home heat is disgusting.
That's because you're doing stuff, I imagine. Like holiday, you're kind of just wandering around and relaxing, whereas at home you're
trying
working.
to sleep. Just trying to sleep at the moment.
Oh, there's that as well, yeah.
On holiday, not a problem. 40 degrees heat, not a problem on holiday. Just give me a bed sheet, I'm fine. At home, 25 degrees, I'm sweating, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, I always have that kind of thing where I'd rather be cold than hot. Because, like, if you're cold, you can just add layers. Like, I can throw a hoodie on, jumper, t-shirt, whatever. There's only so far you can strip before you get arrested.
It's fair.
I mean, that's as a... Kaylee, I'm getting the impression you're just like, bring on the sun.
Absolutely.
You're a nightmare. So we do have an episode to talk about. It is Ms. Marvel Episode 5. Stefan, the title of the episode was...
Time and Again.
Time and Again.
And I haven't even got my second monitor working, so that was just pure memory.
Hey, that's impressive. Humble brag with the second monitor reference.
Yeah, not at the moment. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Humble brag failure. We talked last week on the show, and I'm going to open this week's show with some emails and messages and stuff, because we finished the show last week, and we all kind of went, the first episode really good, second and third kind of setting things up and was good, but the fourth one felt like it just didn't quite hit a groove, and none of us could really work out why, because we went through different scenes that we enjoyed, but it just didn't hit where we wanted it to, or at least that was my take anyway. Mm-hmm. And we had some feedback on that via our YouTube channel, which was interesting. I'm not going to dive into that. I'm going to avoid it. But we also had a fair few messages and emails come through via people emailing in and stuff. And I'm going to open with one, which is probably going to... I should have looked this up. So, Stefan, we're about to see how fast you can Google stuff, or perhaps Kaylee will step in and save us, because she's all knowledgeable. The very first question is from Suzanne in Detroit, Michigan. Mm-hmm. And Suzanne asks, Can you guys, by the way, fully aware I could Google this, but I just wanted a reason to email you all, love the show.
Legend.
That was in brackets. What does the term bitter mean? I hear it in the show a lot. I imagine it's a term of endearment, affection, perhaps love. Not sure. Could you guys enlighten me?
Wait, what does the term what stand for?
Bitter. In the show, you hear it a lot.
See, for me, if I was bitter, it would be like anger or annoyed or something
you
like that.
plank. That's the word bitter.
That's what I can hear you saying.
No, bitter. B-I-T-T-A. I think it's almost like me calling Logan baby or angel
darling,
or my love. You know, it's that kind of thing. Stefan can Google it, you know.
Yeah, get on with it. Come on.
B-I-T-T-A.
Yeah, put in Miss Marvel, what does bitter mean?
I'm looking.
Yeah,
It
you can
means
hear the gears turning.
You're always cautious when you meet new people is a definition of bitter.
No.
That is spelt the same way. What does bitter mean? Ms. Marvel. Okay.
It's quite funny. I had this email a couple of days ago and I kept thinking to myself, I better look that up. And it got to showtime and I've just suddenly realised I hadn't. And I thought, well, I can either leave this message out, which seems cruel because, you know, she sent it in plenty of time, or I can put poor Stefan on the spot.
Yeah.
This is what I chose.
Now, if it was better as in B-E-T-A, it means son or a term of endearment.
I'm guessing that must be what it is.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to mute out so much of my keyboard and mouse just scrolling around going, wah!
You're fine. I mean, I'm fairly confident I can say from context in the show it's a term of endearment.
Yeah,
anybody listening,
son, but uses a term of endearment.
See, I see the son thing confuses me because it seems to be used primarily, although the character is a girl, so perhaps that's why it's being used. But anyone listening who does actually know the answer, please email in sam@stuffandthangspodcast.com or drop us a message via any of the socials, because I am quite enjoying learning various things in this show. I'm dead hacked off, though. It is a term of endearment that not once did my friend's mum ever say that to me. So I will be having words when I find this out.
It's when you find out what the word she was meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you find out.
I don't. I've learned the hard way never to look that up. Oh, what did your mum call me? Don't ask, dude. Oh, okay. So the next question or next thing we had in, this one's from Stephen. Stephen, you don't say where you're from, but hello. Stephen says, loving the show as always. Kaylee brings a great energy. You should keep her around. Kaylee, who have you paid?
Well, that's secret information.
Yeah. Well, this is Stephen from Kaylee's basement. And he says, Kaylee brings a great energy show. You should consider keeping her around more often. Does she watch The Boys? I actually don't know. Kaylee, do you watch The Boys on Amazon Prime?
I've recently started it.
How are you finding that?
I don't know if I can explain it in the right way on this.
Not on the Ms. Marvel, but okay.
Marvel is PG friendly, Boys is not. Yeah.
No. The funny thing is at the moment, me and Stefan, that's basically the two shows we're talking about. It is very difficult to cut that line. Wow. Okay. So sorry, just to finish off the question. The question actually put to us is, do you think, I heard you talk about it last week, do you think that when they're putting these shows together and there's 6 episodes, it is a pacing issue where you have a set time frame when you're looking at it, you generally know they're one and done or short run series that links to other things? Does it mean that you just don't ever really get into it 'cause you know it's going to end soon, or it just feels different to what would be normal episodic television where you assume the show's going to continue if it's good? Yeah, I kind of see what the person's saying. I think it's part of the thing I wanted to talk about with the show this week, which is this was episode 5 and we've got 1 episode left. However, in this episode, I kind of feel like they wrapped the main story I kind of see what they're saying. We'll come on to that when we dive into the show, I think, Stephen. Thank you very much for the message. I hope Kaylee releases you from your bondage soon. The next one is from Louise. Louise is from Bristol. Hello, Louise.
If they say anything nice about Sam, he's paid her.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was actually just thinking to myself, whenever I see, because we very rarely get something from anyone in Bristol, and I do see that we get listeners in Bristol, and I'm always kind of like, how are none of you messaging me? How are like none of you going, hey, I'm listening to your podcast, I'm from Bristol too? Probably because they're thinking, God, that guy is so annoying. Louise says, hey everyone, really loving the Ms. Marvel show. This is the first show of yours I've listened to, and I'm now going to go back and find some others. Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here. Is Kaylee just a guest on this show? Seriously?
I mean, okay, right.
This is actually starting to hurt, Louise.
Thanks, Louise. Love ya.
Shut up, Kaylee. I have the power here. I can mute your ass. Anyway, Louise says, really enjoying the show, finding it fascinating with the characters and a completely different setting for a Marvel superhero, which is fun. One of the things that's really stood out to me is the family the family ethos, which I think you guys have talked about and I love. Hoping the finale is something special. Episode 5 for me ended really bizarrely. What do you think? That's in my notes. That's in my notes to come to. So yeah, we'll get to that. Okay, 2 more. This one is from... Oh, hell.
There's always one.
Stefan, do you remember when we used to do the feature Sam Butcher's names?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to come back to this one. The next one is from from Sam. Sam, hello. You have a wonderful name, Miss and/or Sir. Sam says, really enjoying the Ms. Marvel show, really enjoying your podcast. Do you guys think that we will see a series 2, or do you think we will see this character in any other Marvel Disney Plus shows? Okay, well, that's a direct question. Kaylee, we'll start with you. What do you think? A season 2 character in other shows?
I'll answer this season 2 question next week after we've watched the last episode.
Fair enough.
But I think she's established herself as a character now. Yeah, I want to see more of her. I really like her.
Okay. Stefan?
Yeah, be interested to see. Like, I'll be very interested to see where this does go going forward.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think... I mean, I could be massively proven wrong next week, which happened with Loki, but I don't think we're going to get a season 2. Mostly because I know the character is set to appear in Captain Marvel 2, the movie. I also know that they seem to just want to do one and dones, but then link the shows. And there seems to be a project at the moment with the Young Avengers, which I wonder if perhaps Ms. Marvel will play a part in.
You'd assume so.
You'd think.
I think so, yeah.
So perhaps not a Ms. Marvel season 2, but definitely a continuation for this character, because otherwise, why would they be bringing her in? I mean, it wouldn't make sense. But yeah, okay. So we're now going to go back to the final comment from...
A really cool person.
This comment is from a lovely lady in Bulgaria, and her name is Alexa. And thank you so much for emailing in. You have a beautiful name. Please forgive me. All right, Stefan, how would you say this? ALEDJKOTIOTIEV. Nope. Okay. Thank you so much for your message, Nope.
That is a fantastic name, but I do not want to do you the injustice of me trying to pronounce that, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Kaylee, I'm not even going to ask you. I can hear you actually moving away from your microphone to avoid the question. Yeah. So, massive thank you for messaging in. As a lot of long-term listeners have learned, if you want me to say your name correctly, please do some sort of phonetic thing. It's not meant to offend. I am just crap I'm from a place called Bristol, and we butcher names. I apologise. But your actual note is actually really nice. It's the first person to say something nice. Really enjoy the podcast. I really like Sam's accent. So this person's being really lovely to me, and I've ruined it. Now I feel really bad. Stop laughing. The actual question part to it, though, which is the key thing, the main reason why you want me to read this out. Really enjoying the Ms. Marvel show. Been listening to your podcast for a while across all of the Marvel content. Want to know if you guys will ever... this is quite funny. If you guys will ever intend to do live shows and do reactions to stuff as it airs on YouTube.
Yes, I want to do this so badly. Yes.
Really?
I so badly. There's like... So we do other shows as well.
We do.
And I feel like with The Walking Dead that we do shows of, it's the very last season. I think we need to do like a live watching of the final, like the last ever episode.
Okay.
There's definitely like some of the Marvel films and stuff like that when they get released to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And stuff. I think we should do it. Yeah, I think the idea of it would be brilliant.
Okay. Kaylee, do you want to do that?
Yeah, as long as I've got enough notice, to brush my hair and put some proper clothes on, I'm fine. I'm down.
I didn't think about that. I'd have to get dressed before we podcast.
Yeah. There's an image for everyone. There was two images right there. A lot of listeners' eyes and ears would have perked up hearing Kaylee discuss actually putting clothes on, and then their ears would now be bleeding hearing Stefan sat there naked enjoying the podcast.
I'm not naked.
Yeah, I know. You're wearing your thong. Anyway, thank you so much for all the messages. We really appreciate it. So let's dive into the episode now, which is what most people actually want to talk about. The episode for me kind of splits into two parts. One is a flashback, obviously, to Partition, and it's kind of giving us the character backstory, which, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of pieced this together anyway. This had kind of been where everything had hinted so far, but we actually got to see it play out, which was Kamala's great-grandmother. We literally see the following scene. Earlier in a previous episode, we saw her and the group clandestines split up. She ran away from the British forces with the bangle. We then see her pursued by a British soldier who she kills. She then finds like a small township village, and she meets a very nice man,
Hassan.
Yes, they fall in love. In the space of 5 minutes, they have a child. No, I think that was actually very well done. I kind of quite enjoyed that because you didn't have the 3 years later or anything like that. It just kind of naturally all flowed together, quite nicely edited. You saw them meet, you saw them fall in love, you saw her pregnant and chatting about. She gave him an actual walking stick. The first time we met, you threatened to break my leg, which was quite sweet.
It took her a long time to get him a walking stick, didn't it?
I mean, it would appear at least...
She enjoyed watching him hobble around for a bit too long.
For at least 9 months, yeah. For at least, for at least a good amount of time, she watched that guy hobble around thinking, do I like him that much? I don't know. But yeah, I thought all of those scenes with those two and all of that kind of setup building towards her being found by the clandestines, quite sweet, quite nice. Kaylee, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't immediately obvious to me. So it wasn't until the other one turned up that it twigged actually that this was at the time when she'd split off from them after that initial scene.
Really?
Yeah, and okay. I don't know if that's because I just didn't think about it. I don't know why, but I kind of had I get it. It wasn't it probably me just being a bit of a numpty, but it did tie it all together for me personally.
No, I like that. To be honest with you, it's kind of funny because when I watch stuff, I always sort of then when I talk about it, I always kind of assume people are watching it in the same kind of way that I am, and then it is amazing how many times I say stuff on here on various shows. And then I get flooded with messages like, oh, wow, yeah, I didn't think of that. And I think, really? That's literally how I saw it. So, no, I like that. Stefan, what about you? Were you kind of following and enjoying that arc, or were you like Kaylee, where it kind of like, oh bloody hell, that's who it is?
I feel really smug because I clicked it really quickly and Kaylee didn't. So Kaylee's like the super fan, so I feel a bit smug. Like I literally, as soon as that bloke was talking in the square,
Yeah.
and I was like, "That's the granddad." Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah. It just, I just think because we were following Aisha's path.
Yeah.
It just, to me, I was like, "Well, that's the granddad." Then they're giving him, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Like
I suppose.
you,
Yeah.
Like you, I would kind of had the thing of I kind of knew all this stuff we were seeing because we had pieced it all together from the previous episodes.
Yeah.
However, it was still quite nice to see it all happening.
It was quite sweet, I thought.
Yeah, I feel like you need it because at the moment it was just a case of, oh yeah, no, her Nanny's mum disappeared, we never saw her again.
Yeah.
And she found the dad from Following the Stars, and you guys go, cool, that's cool.
Speaking of being smug, by the way,
Yeah.
and calling things and spotting things and going, oh, I think this is what's going to happen.
Yep.
I do feel I need to kind of take a moment right now just to say, who said the stars came from Kamala? Bring it on. What was the one?
But they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
No, the stars came from the little girl. She created the stars. Kamala made the circles.
Yeah, and then the circle broke.
The stars.
No, then the circle broke and they became stars, and that's why Kamala actually says it was me.
See, I didn't see it like that. I saw it as I just thought the stars came from the girl because they're magic.
Well, that's unfortunate for you to be wrong, but that's what happened. Kaylee, you're the tie break here. Step in, be the ref.
Do I have to?
Yeah, you have to. You have to give an opinion. That's the idea of the podcast.
Okay, so unfortunately, I'm going to agree with Stefan.
Oh!
It's okay. I mean, it's okay because not everyone can be right all the time. And
the way that I saw it was that Kamala made the circles.
Yeah.
Sana jumped on it. They fell off, and then as Sana was sort of raising her hand, the stars were coming out from that. But I'll watch it again tonight, and if I'm wrong, I'll send you a text.
It's fine.
Maybe.
I don't need the validation of both of you. I know I'm right. And no. Okay, fine, whatever. Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
No, it's fine. I mean, I just invite Kaylee to the show, whatever. But you take Stefan's side, whatever. It's like her. Anyway, people who are dead to me. Let's move on.
I'm gonna have to watch the scene again. I'm gonna have to watch it again now just to see if I was so wrong or not.
Well, the one thing I would say, because genuinely, you both know me, I don't care who's right or wrong. This is just how I saw it. What is interesting then is Kamala does say in the scene, "It was me." So my interpretation was that the light broke and then they kind of floated and became stars, and she followed that. Now, that was my interpretation of it, and purely because Kamala said, oh, it was me. It was like this realization that it was her who did this all along, which, as Stefan said in a very nerdy thing last week, a Patronus Harry Potter, for the Potter fans out there.
I got some love for that as well.
Oh, by the way, I
got some loving for that one.
Yeah, there was Facebook messages, we had emails, and I've not gone to him because he doesn't need the ego boost. This guy is an egomaniac. The Potterverse, the Potterheads, are a massive fan of Stefan right now. They are in love with the guy because he used that reference. Oh, that was such an amazing reference. So, for all of you who messaged in with that, it was my call. Don't let no, it was me. Anyway. No, it's cool. I'm fine. I'm over it. Whatever. Cool. Kiss my ass. Right.
but yes, as you were saying,
this isn't going well. I feel this is going to descend really badly. How do you have a podcast when I'm not talking to anyone? Yeah. Everyone on the show's dead to me. You talk to yourselves. So that was why I interpreted that way. It'd be interesting. Again, this is an interesting thing. Message in. Let us know how you saw it, what you think. And let me know if you agree with me or let me know if you're wrong. So, this is the kind of, like I said, the kind of show kind of, for me, it's like in two parts. So, we had that flashback. Now, we get to see the scene where she's reunited with the kind of the leader, if you like, of the clandestines, whose name escapes me right now. Stefan, bring it on.
Oh, give me a second. Yep. Cast. It's a lot harder. Harder to do this on a phone than it is on the.
It's harder, full stop. But yeah, so the leader of the clandestine. Kaylee, I'll put it to you whilst you double checks this. Did you? I mean, that kind of reunion for that moment when she hugged her. I don't know about you, but I was kind of more nervous by that hug than a kind of confrontation.
Yeah, it was a bit chilling. If I'm honest, you could just see that she's thinking, I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
I'm going to have you.
Yeah, because if we're trying to work this out roughly, I mean, so she met, she ran away that day, met that guy. She was obviously there. We assume that she didn't conceive the very night they met. I mean, who knows? You know, might have been a bit of a party town. But assuming that's not the case, she would have been around the guy for a set time, being together, then fell pregnant. So there's at least 9 months there. Add a bit of time to say may take that to a year. I think the grandmother character is, 2, maybe 3 at the time they leave?
I'd say she's probably been there for a good 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's in my head anyway. Kaylee, what do you think timescale-wise?
Yeah, I think, I don't even know if she said sort of 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of said it, you know, it had been years, I think was the general. Now, so this group have been looking for her for that time, and she kind of hints like, oh, I thought you were all dead. Oopsie.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
So good to see you. Like, so awkward, so clearly not good. No. She says she's hidden it, so it'll take her some time to retrieve. The way she says, well, you got till sundown tomorrow, it's like, oh, well, that's a threat. That's not even...
I was worrying this because I was wondering, like, so the character's name is Najma.
Yeah, well done.
When we've seen her in the current day, she's definite baddie villain vibes.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, like, back then, what would have happened to turn her, like, into that character? And then we meet her and Aisha's kind of little chat there, like, well, you've got to sundown tomorrow and stuff. And you're like, oh, okay, you've always been like that. Okay.
One of the things that we picked up on before, it might have been the show that it was just me and you, Kaylee. It was when they revealed the clandestines were on Earth because they were banished to Earth.
Yeah.
So it kind of felt like this is a group that clearly have done something wrong. There's a reason why they are there. But yeah, what that is, we're likely to never know now. But so they have that now because of partition, because of what's happening in the mass migration. One of the things in this episode, which is very, very prominent, and I'm a history nerd, so I'm just going to do this very quickly without boring everybody. The Britain obviously ruled India at that time, and part of the British tactic for ruling a space that large was to actually turn the Indian people on each other. When you understand the religious hatred between different people of ethnicity and religion within India, as much as I hate to say this, it is very much a British-made problem because we did it on purpose. Divide and rule was quite literally the tactic. At the time of partition, when the British Empire was basically handing India its freedom, India, unfortunately, was so entrenched in that segregation that the solution, god-awful solution, and by the way, far more complicated a situation than I'm making this is very broad brushstrokes, was to create this kind of Muslim state for Muslim people to go to in Pakistan, creating Pakistan to enable them to escape the kind of persecution that was happening in the rest of India. That was the big, well done, what a great idea from the British after 100-odd years of us basically pitting them against each other so we could rule them. It's alluded to in this episode quite a lot, and we get to see the very real situation of this man, when we meet him, preaching of togetherness, because the British want us divided, we need to be together. Some time has passed, some years has passed, he's now seen more and more people like him be pushed from their homes. He says people are no longer buying roses from him because he's a Muslim. People won't sell his wife milk in the market because they're married. So we have these examples of this going on, this kind of hatred that's going on. And she uses that in a way to escape the clandestines, because she uses, look, this is the last train. We need to be on it. They're burning villages. They're destroying everyone. We need to get out of here. We know from the scene later on where he confronts us to say, what are we really running from? Kaylee, when you were watching these scenes, did you think that he cottoned on that it was more than just what she was saying it was straight away? Or was it a case of it wasn't until he said it you realised he was actually onto her?
I don't think he wanted to admit it. I think he always knew that there was something, because why would somebody just arrive, you know? So I don't think whether he didn't want to see it or want to admit it, or whether it was just pure blind love, that made him kind of go,
I do want to actually point something out for a second, because, right, Kaylee, let's say you're a single woman, you're living on your own, and a very attractive man just appears, and he starts talking to you, and you chat to him. Do you at that point think to yourself, wow, this very attractive man just appeared, I'm going to take him into my home? Or do you think to yourself, I need to know where this guy comes from? Do you think you need more information before you could allow to be intimate with that person?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. See, Stefan, a beautiful woman appears. How much information do you need, dude?
Right, no, I'm not playing this game because you have enough. You have enough on me as it is. Thank you very much. Umbrella Academy has still haunts me for what I said in that, so I am not playing this game.
I am just demonstrating. There is when this guy, basically a beautiful woman appears and he asks no questions, every guy in the world went, obviously. Whereas every woman's going, surely you'd ask. Why would he not have asked? What's going on? It's like every guy's going, we know why. Look at her. Okay, so just to be clear, you're beautiful and you want to be with me. Brilliant. Okay, but I need to tell you about my past. No.
Please don't. Yeah.
We're all good. Will it impact how I feel about you? Oh, maybe. Then say nothing. So that made me
more
laugh.
At this point, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Men are simple creatures. We're awful simple. But yeah, so he does actually confront her when they're on the way, though. At this point, she reveals to him that she is magic, which I thought was kind of interesting that she'd managed to hide that the whole time. He takes it unbelievably well. By the way, he's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thanks. Why are you telling me now? She then says a line to him, which is basically like, no matter what happens, you get our daughter onto that train. And then they end up being separated. Do you think that in her mind, she was going to go back to the clandestines and hopefully say, look, the bangle's gone, we're going to have to go looking for it? Or do you think she knew she was going to her death? Stefan, I'll start with you.
I think kind of both. I think she knew that was going to be that she wasn't going to survive this. So I think her idea was kind of distraction technique for as long as possible to distract them.
Yeah.
Knowing that, in the end, she's not going to make it.
So her hope was to kind of lead them away. Yeah. But she probably knew at some point she was going to be killed.
Yeah.
Okay. Kaylee, what about yourself?
I think she knew exactly how it was going to play out, purely because of what she says to Kamala.
Yeah, that's true.
She knew, it was destiny, it's fate, this is what's going to happen. When, how, maybe that was a bit muddy. She didn't kind of know that in her mind, but if it was going to happen at any point, it was going to be then. Yeah. So I think she left with the comfort of knowing that someone is coming and everything will be okay for Sana. And
so she actually believed that Kamala initially was her daughter, didn't she? So I think in her plan, it was going to just be the one generation removed, she'd be the one that would appear.
Yes.
Now, we picked up on the episode before, we say, when you hear a line that sounds significant in Marvel, it very rarely is throwaway. And the line we all picked up on was, what you seek is seeking you.
Yep.
In this episode, she reveals that was actually something he said to her, which I thought was quite interesting.
It was a lovely poem, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, what you seek is seeking you. And she basically puts that magic, if you like, into the bangle. And this is why Kamala in the future, and this is where our stories kind of collide, Kamala in the future is drawn to this moment because the bangles, I think something happens to it. It's like she blocks like a weapon at that point.
Yes.
And I think the weapon she blocks is the weapon that's actually used to kill her great-grandmother. I don't know if that's significant to the reason why she was sort of transported there, but we do see her get stabbed. Again, Smug Git here did call that it was probably the clandestines that did it.
Yep.
And she's then confronted with basically this woman who she's heard of. This is her great-grandmother, and she's dying. And she is now aware from what she's learned she is not human. She is one of the clandestines. And they actually get to speak for a few brief moments, and it's kind of quite a nice scene where the woman basically holds Kamala and says, I know everything's going to be okay because you're here.
Yeah.
It was quite a heartbreaking moment. And she hands her a picture as well, which is, if you remember in previous episodes, her grandmother had said she had no pictures of her mother. And
yes.
So she painted one from her recollection. So when she handed Kamala that picture, I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if she's actually going to be able to take that back with her to the future, whether, that vanishes. I don't know. Because at this point, I still don't know if this is a vision or what.
Yeah, I don't know about you two, but I made a bit of a joke when she gave her the picture. I was like, This is like the most extreme version of Where's Wally? This is the person you're trying to find.
Oh, right.
All of these people are here. Go find this little girl and give them to this man. Off you go.
By the way, my daughter's the hide-and-seek champion, yeah.
Yeah. So here's the picture. Go find them. Good luck. Bye. I was like, wow, talk about a challenge. I mean, there's like a million people here. Can you find this young child, please?
Well, we see the dad get separated from his daughter.
Yeah.
Now, all of us are parents here. We've all, at some stage or another, gone through the London Underground, which basically is the only similar experience I can draw to what this train station looked like when it's busy.
London rush hour.
Kaylee, can you imagine the feeling of one of your kids at that age getting separated from you in that sort of crush?
I'll be completely honest. At that point, I nearly turned it off.
you just feel... You feel that anxiety, don't you? That kind of like projected, as a parent, you're kind of looking at it like, no, don't like this. I don't like this at all.
No, in the pit of my stomach, and I just thought I can't watch this. And I'll be honest, completely irrelevant, but side note, that is why it took me so long to watch the first season of Stranger Things.
Oh, really? Because the kid goes missing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Well, no. I mean,
it hit me really in the tummy.
Well, there are certain things that just trigger certain emotions, and when it's, the idea of your kid going missing is like one of those things. It's like, oh no, don't want to do that. Can't think about that. You can deal with practically anything happening to yourself, but then when someone puts that same scenario to your kid, it's like, nope, brain can't handle that.
See, I now can't tell if I'm heartless or I have no imagination, because the idea of me losing my stepkids is like horrific. Can't even think about it. However, watching a TV show, I didn't get that at all.
No, it's not so much you're heartless. It's just that you don't like them that much. I'm joking.
There's a big
really
difference
joking.
between loving them and liking them. There's a big difference.
Yeah, there is a big. To be fair, on different days, my daughter's a teenager now. I love her. I have to keep saying that. I love her. Do I like her today? I don't know. Ask me again after she gets off her iPad for the next 7 hours. Don't you want to go outside? No. What don't you want to do? No. Okay, fair enough. Well, you just look at your iPad then. Have a good day. I will. Okay. Lovely chat. Life. Isn't it fun, eh? That scene, Kaylee, speaking to you as a fellow, person who cares about kids, it was quite tough. And we're obviously, I think all three of us are kind of piecing it together at this point, like, oh, Kamala's definitely going to be the one to find her, definitely going to be one then to try and guide her back, definitely the one that did the stars. And she does find her. What I find quite interesting in that moment, by the way, and don't get me wrong, I think this is absolutely legit. Kamala like drops to her knees, calling her like Nonny, because obviously she knows her as her grandmother. And she gives her this big hug, and the kid just hugs her like, yeah, I'm lost, help. I don't know who you are, but I am lost. And she's like, oh, do you want to play a game? Like, yeah, I do. I don't know who you are, wonderful stranger, but yeah, bring on a game. And like obviously she helps guide her back, which is a really lovely scene. I do have to say as well though that his reaction is beautiful, but for me, not very realistic, you see, because as a parent, you're kind of like, oh, you're alive, I'm so glad. Don't you ever do that again or I'll kill you. It's such a contrasting set of emotions when a kid's gone missing. Like, oh, you wander off one more, oh my God. I used to do it to my mother all the time now, I think about it. I used to like go missing in supermarkets because I used to find it funny they'd put an announcement out for her. That's how horrible I was. just to be clear, how much of a horrible little git I was. But the supermarket stopped doing it when I turned 18. Anyway, so you're looking for your mum. Really? Yeah, I lost her in the Lego aisle. So, I mean, we do see that reunion, and then as soon as that happens, she kind of flashes back to where we were, and she's back, and one of the questions I've got at this point, and Kaylee, I'm going to bring you in first, Stefan, if you prepare as well.
Okay.
We saw like a kind of a fight scene at the end of the last week's episode before she got thrown back in time.
Yes.
All the clandestines were there. Now, I think there were 5 of them. Maybe 6. I'm not sure of the number now off the top of my head. I think 5. But when she comes back, there's only 2 left. Now, I know 1 got killed. Do we just take it that perhaps when this shockwave happened, more died? Or they're still there, but we don't see them? What do you think? Or have I missed something?
I think that there was 3 of them in the vicinity when she hit the bangle.
Yeah.
One of them had already died. I'm not convinced about the other one, because I thought Kamran was the 5th, maybe. Maybe I'm getting confused. But I don't know. I think it was nice to see at least 1 extra, not just the 2 of them.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to go down along the lines of it was a time thing. They showed 1, they showed the next one, that was it.
Yeah, but I'm just curious if they're still there. Like, you know, because one of the things that happens now is obviously there is a tear, and Kamala's trying to close it. She's unable to close it.
The veil has opened. Yeah.
The veil is, a far more accurate way of putting it, my friend. And one of them approaches it like to go home, and is basically killed. But the way that this person was killed reminded me of something in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Not just me. I'm such a nerd. I'm so glad I wasn't on my own. It was that Terragenesis for the Inhumans. Am I remembering that right?
You are.
Yeah, but they're linked, aren't they? Because Kamran and Kamala are the new humans, aren't they? That's what they're badged as.
Well, this is what I was about to ask you. Is this basically a link now to Inhumans, or is it just completely coincidental they use the same visual effect, do you think? Stefan, what do you think?
I am desperate for like the Inhumans and Daisy's character to come back into the Marvel. So I am more than happy to like clutch at all the straws that are possible to bring back Fitzsimmons and May and all that lot. I want them back. So yeah, I'm happy to clutch at all the straws that lead to any evidence that could be coming back.
That they are. Okay. Kaylee, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think there's so much to explore with that, and I miss Daisy and Co. You know, it was a great show, and it's just tying all of that back together, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they will. I think with Disney Plus being so sprawling in their content wise, I think those characters have a place. How though, I don't know yet.
What we do is we pretend the last couple of seasons never happened, and then it stays canon. And they just bring back seasons 1 to 4 or something on Disney Plus, and everyone will be like, "Yep, that's fine."
Well, they kind of went completely off the reservation with the show, and I kind of wonder if they could do something like, seasons 1 through 4 was in 616. However, something happened that no one's aware of, and they were all moved to this. You know, I don't know.
Because
I know can do whatever you want.
The rumor was that the Marvel films were so well linked in with Agents of Shield, because they didn't want any of the spoilers for Infinity War and Endgame. They took the Agents of Shield in a completely different direction as to not give any clues, hints, and spoilers. So I'm like, so go back to the start of that season. Just pretend anything after that didn't happen, because it all got very strange. And we had the weird going through time and coming back in the 60s. That was all very strange. Don't need that.
I think Coulson died like 500 times in the end.
Oh, he was like the world's most used LMD. Yeah.
I think he's got the highest death count, hasn't he?
Definitely. Definitely, yeah. We see characters die and maybe come back in one way or another. Coulson, that guy, he just bounces back like a rubber ball. It's unbelievable.
But get rid of those last couple of seasons. Bring back.
But I am
Terrigen.
back with Ms. Marvel. I am very glad that it wasn't just me who spotted that. But we do see that character die. The leader seems to just be almost like a moth to a flame, kind of just being drawn to it, like I'm so close to getting her. Like, just seems to ignore the fact she's just seen her friend die hideously.
Yeah.
Like, I can make it. And I'm thinking, really?
Kamala's there, like, did you not just see what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine, I'm going home. No, did you not just watch the last person? Yeah, it's fine.
Now Kamala kind of pleads with her not to do it, basically, for Kamran.
Yeah.
Now, this woman was fine leaving Kamran behind, by the way. She was very cold about that. But in this moment, again, where she's like, I left him, but there is more of a kind of emotional realization. Oh, wow, I left him behind. Like, it's like, yeah, you did. You horrible git.
Oh, yeah, he was my son. My bad.
Yeah, and then she kind of says his name, and she somehow transfers whatever power she has to him all the way from Pakistan back to New Jersey. And I don't know about you guys. I don't quite... Because I didn't realise she had any...
powers.
I mean, obviously... Yeah, I mean, all of them obviously had something, but I wasn't quite aware what that was. But she seems to do that, and then she enters the tear in the veil and is able to close it by sacrificing herself.
Yeah, which is strange, because she can close the veil by dying, yet the person before her didn't. Was that because she has... But then this whole thing, so I was absolutely fine with this episode until about now, and then I just started going, wait, what? Like, her transferring her powers to Kamran just because she said her name was a bit, like, weird. And then sacrificing herself and closing the veil, I was like, well, we just watched someone else die to the veil. Are you now saying that because the first person went to the veil with a, yay, I'm going home, she died, but this person was going, I will close the veil, so didn't died but closed it? I was like, there was no explanation. There's no telling us why.
I was going to say, I don't think we know enough about it, other than the fact the character does say, I know how to close it.
Yeah.
So if you work on the theory that the first character was purely, I'm going home, and tried to skip through and died, but she's going into it actually mentally going, close this door behind me. I don't know. Perhaps there's a mental component to it, which is how you get through, perhaps part of her ability. But then at the same time, she seems to transfer that to Kamran, which is why I was confused. Kaylee, I'm with Stefan a little bit on this. Like, once we got to this point in the episode, I was kind of like, okay, this is odd. She was the kind of bad guy to the series, but she's just actually done the right thing and she's gone, but we've still got an episode left. So I was a bit confused by all this. Where were you with all this? What were your feelings?
So I was actually pretty torn. So you guys, you say sacrifice, but I'm wondering whether there's a sort of selfish element to it. Kamala said, you don't leave him. And she went, I'm leaving anyway. Yeah. But in doing so, obviously she transfers the powers. But is that, a selfless thing by going, I'm protecting him, he's now got these powers? Or has she come at it from, he's got the powers, he can get back himself, so I'm trusting him to come back? I'm actually now I'm thinking about this.
they're from a different dimension. We don't know how they exist in that dimension. They could purely exist as energy, which means what we are perceiving as gory deaths could actually just be their vessels on this reality going, and they are through. They've gone home.
Yeah, I mean, it felt a bit rushed, but maybe we'll see a bit more as they kind of explore it in the next episode. Maybe what is actually behind the veil. We don't know. No. It just is a mirror, but is it?
My confusion around that moment, and my kind of like, I'm not sure if I like that scene. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Was completely the next scene I loved. So a little bit earlier in the episode, we see that Kamala's mother's trying to find her. And Kamala's mother learns of the wonderful, track my phone app, or the parent LoJack. Yeah. The moment where she says, like, this is like LoJack for parents. Why am I learning about this now? Show me. And then she goes to find her with her mother. So it's the 3 generations. I think the scene where her mum sees her using her abilities, sees that everything her mother had said about magic in the family and stuff was true. It was kind of beautiful. Her mum's, the acting in that moment as well, because she doesn't say a lot, but her face changes from this kind of looking down on her daughter, you're wrong, you're in the wrong, I'm trying to tell you how to lead a better life. But her facial expression, seeing her do these things, was just joy. It was like pure happiness and kind of, wow, that's my girl. Kaylee, what did you think about those scenes?
I really liked them. I think I would have appreciated a bit more, perhaps. Yeah. Because she went from being like, oh, she's a nightmare, to, oh, she's this magical being and I've accepted her. There's probably a little bit more emotion within that. But, again, it was what we were all kind of rooting for, wasn't it? The 3 of them together at the end, all hunky-dory and everyone's happy. But I would have liked to have seen a bit more.
I mean, looking back over the photo albums, because she ran off after Bon Jovi, was that
that was brilliant. Yep. That was Bruce Springfield. No, Bon Jovi. We've all had those conversations.
Do not fill my daughter's mind with these lies. It was Bon Jovi.
Yes. Brilliant.
So we do see these wonderful scenes with them all kind of united, and it's a really nice ending to the story in Pakistan with the 3 of them. We do head back to the States, and we catch up with Brian/Bruno.
Now,
he's at work.
I just want to check.
Go
on, Kaylee.
No, I was just going to say, before we go back to New Jersey, can I just say, I was really, really hoping and praying that what are they called? The red scarf dude. Red daggers. I really, really was hoping that Nanny was going to go, hey, don't go off, come and live with us. That was something I wanted, but carry on.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's actually kind of funny in that scene is the difference between mother and grandmother in that moment. The mother sees a boy like, oh, I'm so proud of you. You're wonderful. Who's the boy? Yeah. The grandmother is just like, hey, darling, how are you? Nice to see you. That is very much a difference between parent and grandparent, because the parent's worried. Yeah. The grandparents like, live your life, have fun, do what you want to do. I'm not in charge of you.
Yeah, it's fine. I have no control over what happens. It's fine. You do your thing.
Yeah. So that was quite a funny moment as well. She is given one of the red dagger kind of face bandana things as well. Face mask, I think is what I'd call it nowadays.
Scarf, my name. It's a scarf.
Yeah, it's a scarf. Yeah, I think my brain's just like, cover your face. Face covering. It's a face covering. Yeah, social distance.
What I love is I've just looked up that character's name as well.
Oh, okay.
Red Dagger. That's it.
It's a good name.
Solid name. That's it. He doesn't have a name. His name is just Red Dagger. No. Okay.
Yeah, solid name. But like I said, we head back, and Kamran has actually gone to him. Now, I kind of touched on this in a conversation I had with Stefan yesterday, so a part of me, Matt, I'm going to speak to Kaylee about it, get her take. Up to this point, Kamran had seemed quite sort of cool, calm, confident. I'd assumed a level of intelligence, given, he's fully aware of his family lineage, the clandestine, he's fully aware of all of that. But in this moment with Bruno, he actually comes across as a bit of a numpty for me, because, he's kind of like, I had nowhere else to go. Now, that's fine, But the lines around, seeing a poster for Nikola Tesla and saying, "Oh, you're into cars," the fact that he actually wasn't deliberately calling him, but he genuinely just thought that was his name and hadn't realised. So I guess in that moment, my kind of version of this character in my head completely changed. Is that just me, or what did you think?
No, I think so. I think he's lost his protection. He's lost his family. He's vulnerable almost in these moments. And it was just so cute when he apologized for calling him Brian.
Yeah.
And, they are bros now.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be the start of a beautiful friendship.
a bromance is blooming. Yeah. What do you think, Steph?
So we probably should say it was a strange one because he comes in he joins the show and he's almost like one of those the jock sort of guys. He's the cool new kid and all this sort of thing.
Yeah.
All the girls are swooning for him. And then in this episode he becomes this absolute drip. And it's well, where did that guy go? What's happened? I understand, he obviously had mummy protecting him, which is obviously what gave him that kind of persona of confidence and stuff. But in this episode, I get the whole, like you say, I had nowhere else to go. Okay, fair enough. Yep, go with that. That's fine. And then, I really thought your name was Bright. No, you didn't. You were being a typical bloke.
Well, see, this is the thing. up to this point, I thought that's what it was. But, that's genuine. In that moment, he's genuine oh, wow, I got that wrong. And the fact that he did the Tesla car thing, he's like, oh, that's my favourite element because he's trying to relate to him and he's failing.
Epically.
It was sort of oh, wow, okay. Now, what then happens is we see the Stark drone tech again. And every time I see it and it's being misused, it's making me angry, people. Yep. It's making me angry. The only person who should misuse Stark tech is Spider-Man when he wants to find out what MJ's got on her phone.
Yep,
that's the only person who's allowed to misuse that tech.
So I just want to check, just quickly. Okay.
Yeah.
We all three of us watched the same episode, right?
Yeah.
Did I miss something?
No.
This episode, like you said before, it feels like the whole season ended with the bad guy's gone. Yay, okay, that's all wrapped up. Mummy now knows that she's a superhero. That's all cool.
Yeah.
Family's all fine. They've all wrapped up their story. Great, okay. We head back to New Jersey and Bruno's throwing something in the rubbish and meets Kamran. And then they in his apartment, something gets exploded and then end of the episode. And I'm like, whoa, what?
I wonder if that's what's going to... So the next episode, episode 6, I wonder if some of this was almost like a side story, the backstory, getting, the powers and all of this. And then whatever happens in the last episode is going to be the big, the main event. And that's what's going to set up the next season, the movie, the tie-in with everything else.
I think you could be right. I do think it's a fair thing to say, though, that when you're creating television... you need it to be episodic in the terms of story development building.
Yeah.
And what I would say is at the end of this episode, I genuinely was like, was that it? Was that the end? And I'm like, there must be a mid-credit. No. There's no... Okay. I was baffled. And I even went back thinking, did I look away and miss something? So I went back and watched the end again. It just felt very abrupt. Now,
but why was the drone hunting... Was it purely the fact of that he escaped from the DODC?
Yeah, DODC. I'm guessing it was tracking him because of that. How they're tracking him is going to be another interesting question. Perhaps it's because the powers got transferred and he's now given off an energy signature. We don't know. But it does track him. He does use his powers and we hear Bruno shout, "You've got abilities now too." And that's it, the end. The downstairs shop gets blown up. It was very abrupt and very confusing. Now, I'm guessing episode 6 potentially will open literally with that scene and just continue.
If it doesn't, I'm going to be really confused.
It just did feel very abrupt, and we're not alone. So, I read out some messages and stuff at the start of the show. We've actually had 13 other emails come in, and all of them are... Did I miss something? Was that ending really abrupt?
Yeah.
So we're not alone. And it's a thing on TikTok, it's everywhere.
All I can think of is that this is the reason that Kamala and that lot come back to New Jersey straight away. Oh no, Bruno's hurt. Quick, we have to rush back to see him. and that's what brings her back to New Jersey and cuts the holiday in Pakistan Street and stuff.
I got no doubt that could be the rationale, but it did just feel like whoever edited the episode missed a step.
Yeah, she could have just come home from holiday anyway. We didn't need that.
Well, no, it was just like bang. It was just like, I don't know. Yeah, I know it's just personal preference, but for me, it just felt like so abrupt. It felt wrong. Like there was something missing.
100%, because the credits, like the shop explodes and then the credits start, and you're like, why? What?
Yeah. Like even if it just sat there for a minute with the shop burning, and then faded to black, it would have felt like, oh wow, what an ending.
No,
but it was the way it was just
explosion
like,
and then credits. Oh, okay.
Well, it's because it was almost like it was his line was like cut. You know, it was I'm like, you got powers now too, bang, dum, it was gone. But like I said, that could just be me. But I have seen a number of people asking the same question, which always makes me feel that little bit better. That is everything I had. Kaylee, did you have any other bits and pieces you wanted to discuss from the episode?
I mean, there was a few. I mean, the whole timeline thing raises more questions than it answers for me in terms of how time travel works.
Yeah.
That's probably a whole episode on its own.
Yeah.
But the thing that kind of really stuck out for me most, I guess, is right at the very beginning when we get the opening credits and you see the styles change, the artwork change.
Yeah, that was nice.
Absolutely loved that. I thought that was really clever and a really lovely thing to do.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I agree.
I'll give you that one.
Stefan, any other bits and pieces that you wanted to discuss?
Yes and no. I feel like I can already see the comments coming in for me saying this. So, I am very, very much enjoying learning about all the stuff in this show. Okay, be that the culture side, the religious side, the way the communities work, the way the families work. I am very much enjoying all of that stuff. As an actual Disney Plus series, I still think this one is bottom of the pile for me. Like, it just feels like I said, when we spoke about before about the pacing and stuff, and especially at the end of this episode, just something just doesn't still seem right. And I can only stress so much that what doesn't feel right has absolutely nothing to do with the origins of the damn characters. Because these are comments that we are getting, that I am seeing, that I just don't blow my mind, if I'm honest. But yeah, there is just something there or not there, and it still hasn't gripped me like all the other series have.
Yeah. Which
for me, I think is really strange, bearing in mind that this is the only series that we've had that we actually know before it started that there is going to be more to it. So like, we know that this is the introduction to Ms. Marvel, who is going to be in the Marvels movie.
Yeah.
All the others, we haven't really had that. WandaVision was strange the whole way through.
Yeah.
We kind of got with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier that this was the passing of the torch. But we still don't know for sure if it's going to be another series, if it's going to be a movie or what.
Oh, we do. It's a movie.
We do now. At the time though, when we were getting it all, it was kind of like, is this going to be a series of shows? Is it going to be a movie? What was it? Hawkeye, again, we were kind of like, is this just the passing of the torch? What's happening next? All these have kind of had like this very big question mark over it. This is the only one where it's been like, this is 6 episodes and then she will be in the Marvels. So I would have thought for that, I would have thought it would have gripped me more, because I would have been more invested in like, this is where it all starts. This is going to be great. But yeah, there's still something that just hasn't quite... Like, I haven't got the excitement for the finale that I've had for other shows. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I admire your bravery just bringing the hate on like that. I mean, it's...
oh, God, yeah.
That's good. You're very, very proud of you.
Yeah.
Well done. His telephone number, by the way, is 07...
The worst bit is you probably could have read out 11 digits then. I would have sat there going, is it? Is that one?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. No. I joked on a podcast once about giving out a phone number, and I had messages from people like, "Oh yeah, really?" I was like, "No, I'm not going to do that, you weirdos." Yeah. So yeah, I like you. There are elements of the show that I'm kind of like I don't get. Like I'm not quite sure about what that is. It's purely from a storytelling point of view and a pacing point of view, which is I'm kind of looking at like episode 1 had me. I was like, this is so much fun. I love her family. Yep. This is great. Episodes 2 and 3 kind of fleshed out the characters more for me. So again, really enjoyed everything. Episode 4, like I said last week, I couldn't tell you what it was, but it just felt like something was off. This week again, I can't tell you what it was. I've just gone through that whole episode picking out scenes I really enjoyed, all these different parts of it. But again, it just feels like this is a Disney Plus issue. I feel like they've had this with all of the shows. Some of them we know the reasons around COVID and stuff, but with this, it just feels like the editing or the idea behind how to structure the story means you kind of get a little bit lost in the middle, and then they throw everything into the end. Which, you know, if it works, like people really like it, but if you're looking at the ratings online, if you like, for this show, it is tanked. From episode 1, it's just gone down. Now, unfortunately, there's a hell of a lot of prats who decide to just negative bomb shows because, you know, it features a character they don't necessarily relate to, which means you can never fully look at those ratings and you know, deem whether it actually tracks or not.
Yeah.
But like for me, like I said, episode 1, 2, 3, very invested. 4 I thought was odd, but was happy going into 5. 5 again, it just felt like such an odd ending, and it also feels like the show, like, what next? It's like, okay, well, the big bad does this mean that the DODC is actually the big bad of this episode, or they're going to become a big bad throughout a lot of these series, and we're just the kind of origin of that is episode 6? I don't know, so I am interested.
I'm not against that, because obviously we saw them a little bit in the Spider-Man thing.
Yeah.
And they didn't exactly come across as good guys then. They were a bit arsey. No. We've now seen them a few times in this, and again, they've got that kind of... So I'm all good for, like, if they're going to be, like, the next... They're not going to be a villain, but they could be a decent hurdle for... Oh, why has no one come and saved them yet? And it's like, well, actually, we're trying to, but the DODC are really putting up... Like, you know, that could be a fun thing. And if that's the start of it, that could be really fun. Yeah. But they need to kind of explain what they're doing a bit more, please.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Kaylee, do you want to have a final word on this? What are your thoughts? Be brave.
I'm really enjoying it. I think it's probably, like we said at the very, very beginning, this show isn't necessarily marketed to 40-year-old men.
31.
He's a lot younger than
you.
Middle-aged. No, middle-aged is the wrong term. Anyway, but I agree. You know, the 4th episode, a bit iffy, but I personally am excited, probably more than Stefan, for the next episode.
Yeah.
And I think if we get to 2 years down the line and we've gone further down into the current phase and stuff, we can watch this back and we'll go, oh yeah, I get it now.
Okay.
You know, so I'm probably a bit more on the positive side, but I personally have really, really enjoyed the story development and the characters, and for maybe a teenage girl watching it, she has a completely different opinion and reaction to everything that's been going on.
Yeah, true. Okay, perfect.
On that note, as the person with a female teenage daughter,
she hates it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she doesn't like it at all. No interest. No, and it's funny because
I thought that was going.
No. But I mean that's individuals though, isn't it? You know, that's the thing. You can watch something and everyone tells you, oh, you'll like this, and you can watch it and go, no, I don't. And perhaps sometimes when something is clearly geared towards a certain age demographic, that particular age demographic being a teenager, will just run the other way because, oh, am I supposed to like this? Then I don't. Yeah. But yeah, no, and also Stranger Things is out at the moment, and that's all she wants to talk about. So it's probably an element of that too. But look, a massive thank you to both of you for joining me again. I really enjoyed the discussions on this show. I think it's really good. Thank you to everybody for listening. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you'll be joining us for the finale next week. Episode 6 airs Wednesday, Disney Plus. Our show will be on the Friday as always. Until then, everybody, you all take care. Stefan, say goodbye to the lovely people.
See you later.
Kaylee, say goodbye.
Bye.
I can't do stars, Nanny, but I can do circles, okay?
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.